Hello and welcome back to the channel where we are making a video game from scratch using Love2d and Lua. So yesterday we worked on getting our save status working. And actually I noticed a bug last night. We forgot to turn on our saves for our meditation idle, so we have to just turn that on again because we were trying to basically make it automated so that if we draw an idle in the tiled level maker, that it would insert an idle with the meditate option as we insert it, but we could not figure that out yesterday, so I've just got to turn it on manually again, and then we should have it. So right now we have it so that we can test saves and loads with K. So I'm gonna save it here, and then you can see that we can reload, and every time we load we go to a meditation state, which is just him sitting down meditating. But if we come up here, if we choose not to meditate, our save is still at the old location. But if we choose to meditate, we will meditate actively. We can walk right out of it, and then also if we load, we go back to meditating. And it remembers where you're at. So like if you meditate on the left side of it, and then you come in here or whatever and you reload, it knows you're on the left side of it, and it puts you in this meditation state while it loads. So that's what we did yesterday. We have a couple bugs we've got to hunt down still, and I noticed it on my laptop. I was able to see, like, just like this. I try to meditate and we have the option, but we're paused and we can't see anything. So I don't know at what point we screwed that up. 'Cause what the heck? There's we must have this is so jacked up. So we have to try to debug this, because I don't know what's going on there. We have, I don't know what happened there, because there was like an invisible block right here. So if we try to read it from up here, does that trigger it broken? You know, it's like first we have to figure out how to recreate the issue. Of course it's not easily recreatable, like because like if we have a demo, right, and this breaks when Steam is reviewing it, you know, that's bad, very bad. If you go to save your progress and it's a game-breaking bug, oh, just like that. Look at that. I don't know how to trigger it. We can take a look at the code and see if anything is suspicious. Like the weird thing about it is we have this little box in front of us, and we call it dialogue collide box or something. It might be in the walk state for our player. Okay. I don't know where it is. But basically there's a little extended hitbox coming in front of our player, and that kind of registers whether or not we are colliding with a dialog box object. And if the interact button is held or pressed while that box of yours is colliding with a collidable dialog box object, then it will pause the game and then update whatever dialog box object was put in our global table there for the current scene. So the only thing I think that might be going wrong there is that it got confused and we didn't get the dialog box collided table inserted correctly, and that's why we weren't seeing anything on screen, because the thing that shows up on screen is the dialog box object itself. But we weren't seeing it. So I'm gonna try to find that little hitbox so we can see it. This is our chasm collide. It's, dialog box detection, that's what it's called. So we have, oh gosh. What doesn't it like? We have a fill type, we have an X, a Y, a width, and a height. So why is it mad? It's expecting a parentheses somewhere, but I don't see where. Oh, it's in our play state. It's jacked up. Oh. How do we screw that up? Okay, so there's the little box. Now that's the detection for our dialog box objects, which includes NPCs as well as signposts as well as save idols. So see how we pressed the interact button and we were colliding with it, versus right here we're just not colliding, so interact does nothing, but we can trigger it over here. So for some reason we were just I don't know how to recreate that bug. Both times I've caused it, it came from saving, testing a reload, and then coming up here and trying to do it. But that doesn't reliably trigger it. Maybe we should, when we meditate, we should probably change our direction downwards so that our box, well, depends which way we meditate, because right here the box is in front of us like it should be, also still colliding with the idol. We should probably not allow us to meditate if we're already meditating, so we should probably take that out. But let's take a look at how we're triggering the dialog box object to update. Okay, so we do this. What is it called? Gosh, the code base is getting big and hard to sift through. This is what we're looking for. Okay, so we cycle through our dialog box objects in our current scene. We run the method dialog collides, which is that red, it's AABB collision with the red box against every dialog box object. So if we are in fact colliding there, hey Mochu, what's up? We flush all the lines, we reset our line count, our text index, we assign the key. See, and I think this is where it might be going wrong. Once we collide with any dialog box, we take the index of that dialog box and save it in a variable in the play state. And then we insert into our dialog box collided table, which is another table. It's basically, this table holds the dialog box we're going to update because we've interacted with it. So we basically say, let's insert the very dialog box we just interacted with and put it inside this dialog box collided. So where do we use this dialog ID then? Well, we save it here, and then we use it in our play state when we are paused. Okay. See, I'm thinking it's this hard-coded 1 right here that must be screwed up. This is so weird. Okay, so we're saying, well, no, that's only if it's a treasure chest. So once, we become paused once we interact with the dialog box. And then since it's not a treasure chest option, that's a weird thing to have to clarify, but yeah, if it's just a dialog box that's not a treasure chest, all we're gonna do is go into our dialog box table at our current scene, and we're gonna update the dialog box ID. Okay. So this dialog ID has to be set incorrect somewhere. So where do we flush our collided dialog box? Because what we should actually do, instead of having this dialog ID, I thought the idea was we just go to the dialog box collided, because we copy it over. Where is it? Right here, we insert it into the dialog box collided. Oops, but do we ever flush that dialog box collided? We insert it, we insert it, we insert it. If it's a treasure chest, we insert. And then in our dialog box object, we do flush it here. We flush the current scene's dialog box collided table. If we hit, this is for touch, but also for, oh my goodness, dialog box collided. Also, upon a touch, we do, once we hit the advance button and we were on the last page, then we flush this dialog box collided. So yeah, I'm gonna say we try to update not our dialog ID, but we literally update the only item in our dialog box collided table. So I want to only do this if this isn't nil, right? Because if it's nil or empty, we can't update it and we might crash. So we'll try to do that. But this logic is looking nasty. Else if the dialog box collided table does not equal nil, then update the first, it should be the only thing in that table. So let's see, we should get the same functionality we expect then in 328. Oh yeah. Yeah, tilde equals is not. It's, yeah, dude. I'm not gonna vouch for it. It was really bad on my old keyboard. I didn't have a dedicated tilde button. So I had to do like function shift alt 8 to get a fucking tilde. I bought a new keyboard. It was it was like a super tiny keyboard. It didn't even have the numbers pad or arrow keys even. So it was not a good choice on my part. Okay, it looks like it's functioning the same way. And if we load, it loads us back. The issue is we can't recreate the issue. So we did eliminate maybe one step that could have been screwed up, which was the self.dialog ID. If that wasn't getting overwritten or anything, it could have been. Okay, so Merksu, the background image here is custom art made by my streamer friend Salto Manga. He's actually working right now on the promotional art material for the game. So we'll have very shortly some real artwork for the game itself. What he did here was some lore from Sekiro. So this is, I don't know if you played Sekiro, but this is the young sculptor Sekijo. So the orangutan when he's young, training in the sunken depths with Kingfisher. So it's like a lore image that if you're a fan of the game, you'll be like, oh, that's epic. But it's just pretty if you don't know what the game is, but it's really cool if you know the game. So he did a great job with that. And then Easter eggs in the game. You know, I haven't thought about explicitly adding any Easter eggs. I'm sure there are some, like, I mean, there's so much Link's Awakening in the game, right? Like, I feel like even just the pits are like an Easter egg for Link's Awakening because it's just so reminiscent of it. So it'll be, yeah, we'll figure out a cheat code or something to put in there. I was messing around with shaders the other day, and I got like a Game Boy style shader kind of working. So I don't have the images for that actually, but maybe we'll do the Konami code for a Game Boy shader or something. So that might be what's at least one of the Easter eggs. I don't know exactly yet. Okay, so let's test our death in the dungeon here, because I think we had some issues with that yesterday. So we were having some discrepancy between dying outside of the chasm and where we just need to have a game over, and dying in a chasm where it triggers that special chasm fall state. Yeah, and well, the good news, oh, what just happened? Did we get rid of our freaking code that renders our player? No. Okay. Yeah, the shaders for uh-oh. Oh no. I don't know why I do this. I was gonna look at this. I have some notes here for the shader. This is how you do it in Love2d. You just kind of declare the range of colors in RGB. And then I don't know. This was kind of working though. You just map whatever brightness pixel to whatever range of set shader color, and then it just kind of does it. So it's not too bad. Although I couldn't do it at the top of my head. That's why I made the file for it once I got it working. Yeah, it's essentially just a LUT. It's essentially just exactly a LUT. You got it. Okay. So let's try getting shot into the chasm again and see if it's broken or not. Okay, so we died in the chasm. It triggered our chasm, and it also loaded from our meditated state at our last save, which is good. But let's try to we'll basically get killed and then fall into the chasm and see if it breaks. Oh, shit. Okay, that's okay. So we need to get shot into the chasm, so we technically die before... Oh, we didn't even get a knockback there. See, and this was... I think when we tried to fix the bug from yesterday, we did take out our DX if we were dead, which I didn't really like, because I like the idea that you can... As you get knocked on your ass, you kind of spin and get knocked back. And I liked how that looked. So I think I want to take that out and just see if we can fix... Oh, yeah. See, so it fixes it from accidentally triggering a chasm too soon like it was, but it doesn't look that good. We should get the knockback from the spitball, even though we're dead. We should have our DX still applying, and I do not remember where we added that. It'll be probably easiest to check the commit from yesterday and see. We added, okay, maybe not that. It looks like we did in the falling chasm state, we flush our DX and DY, which I think that one we actually might need, because that one, the one we don't need though is this one. No, that one's okay. Shit, I thought we did it one other time. I thought we did it. This is okay to me, I think. Wow, I don't see it. Okay, well, let's try toggling this one off. Well, it won't be in the falling chasm state update, so that one's not it. It's got to be this one for the dead timer, but dead timer wasn't yes, Merksu, it does work on Mac. There is there's instructions. So like the build that's on here, the release on here is like, oh my gosh, since August. So that thing's really old. But if you download the folder, I've got the instructions here. You just download Love, the game engine, and have it a shortcut on your Mac, and then you drag and drop the folder onto the Love shortcut, and it'll start running for you. So it's a really easy process as long as you don't mind installing the game engine. It's really easy though. Yeah, the only... I'm trying to think of the trouble. There was like, when I actually compile the .app for Mac, then when you double click it to open, you have to do the special Mac preferences, security, privacy, allow unidentified developer stuff. But if you download the source code with the folder, I think you can just drag and drop it and have it work. Okay, so let's... I mean, I didn't see what DX would have been doing that, because the only one that was there was only if our dead timer was greater than 2 seconds, which that makes sense to give us to flush our DX at that point. Maybe we change it. Gosh, I don't know where we change it. I'm just going to delete the DX updates for now from both of those and see if it fixes it, and then we'll try to address it. So our falling chasm state and our play state dead timer. We'll try to find that. Yeah, let's try to take that out, and we'll take out the one from the falling chasm state. See, yeah, I want to say it was this one that was maybe jacked up. Okay, so we're looking for a knockback on a spitball that kills us. So we'll just see if we get knocked back when we die here. No, we don't. Okay, so what the heck? Let's look at the knockback we take. It might be under, if we're dead, we're doing something different with we're locking our X position or something. Because we were trying to fix this bug yesterday, and I think we broke it. Player dead. Okay. Yeah, no, that's totally a dance. Yeah. Yeah, it's the little Tashio shuffle over there. I will whip that emote out when there's some... Well, I don't know what it's called on Twitch when everyone's throwing dance emojis, but I'll throw that one out every once in a while. That and the Jimmy Chomp too. Yeah, the Jimmy Chomp is good. And then the walk is also a dance too. Yeah. I want to get set up where the emotes come on the screen all big. I don't know if that's a Twitch thing or a Stream Elements thing or what, but I like channels that do that too. Okay, this is weird. I don't know where we broke that, but it must have been yesterday. Let's see if we manipulate our anything else. I don't see anything in the commit from yesterday, so it might have been the day before. Well, we did add this. Well, this is so that we only respawn if we're dead. We don't reset our spawn point positions. We just go to a chasm fall state if we're already falling. So that shouldn't change our velocity upon a spitball hit. So let's see. we must be touching our DX or something recently. Yeah, and there is it took me a while in the game to like get it specifically so that it like anytime you tap the movement, he resets to his first frame of walking, so that you can do a little shuffle like that. So, not that that's an Easter egg or anything, but that was very intentional. I had to go out of my way to make sure it did that. Okay, I don't know. Maybe spitball logic. Maybe we change something there. So we're applying a DX of a spell knockback as long as the player's not dead. And the player isn't, well, I guess, yeah, maybe that's triggering too soon. And this is weird. It's weird that we do this. Let's see if we can say smaller than -1 and just see if that might fix anything, because I don't like how I did this, but let's see. Well, son of a bitch, that was so bad. Okay, smaller than, let's say -0.01, just because I think there might be something with the knockback, something with the, oops, when we get hit. You know, we don't actually check collision between a spitball and a Tashio. We once this, oh my god. So that's still busted. So what we're doing is we're tweening this spitball over the course of 1/10 of a second to go towards the center of Tashio's head. And then the 0.1 is our lifespan, and that's the tween value. So instead of checking collision, we just set a timer for when, basically, if a spitball's instantiated, it's gonna hit us by the time it gets to our head, essentially. So we don't do it based on collision, we based it on a timing. So this self.lifespan of the spitball is how we're, yeah, see how it's 0.1, just like the timer tween. But something in here, if it collides and we're not already dead, then we're going to decrement our health. And then we have this hit left, hit right. Oh my gosh. So this spitball entity, what the heck? This is just in the init? Okay, so when the spitball is made, yeah, when the spitball itself is made, we detect which corner it's coming from to determine which knockback we need to apply to our player. Because the thing is, if the DX really isn't getting modified here, let's print up the DX for Tashio and see and make sure that that's in fact 0, and that we're not overriding it with, you know, an X position getting unmoved or something like that. So let's see. Okay, so this number is our DX here. So we're going to get spitball and just make sure that we get a DX on the second hit. Yeah, I didn't see a DX there. Let's space it out so that only one hits right away. Yeah, we don't get it. We don't get assigned the DX. So we assign our player's DX here. once the spitballs timer is up, we get either a positive or negative knockback. Okay, so what else could be overriding our DX or anything here? Let's see when we're updating our spitballs. I think it's in the global attacks table we added it. And we have attack updates. We just update all the attacks in there as long as there is an attack in there. There's Soup's famous not equals right here. And then we remove the spitball if the remove flag is triggered. And then we break so that we essentially reset the indices of the table there so that we can continue to cycle through without shifted index. Maybe knockback isn't happening because the player is dead when the functions run. That was my guess, but the player doesn't become dead unless health is taken away, and health is only taken away if this body is executed. So we should be following through with the appropriate knockback. Unless there's a flaw. Well, yeah, I don't think there's a flaw in our hit values. One of these gets hit because it's all in an if and else if block. So one of these values should get true, and that means by the time we're supposed to be hit, and by the time we actually lose a health to die, then we should be applying a knockback to our DY or DX. So that's what's a little confusing to me. And what's more confusing to me is that it was working fine 2 days ago, and it wasn't until yesterday that we broke it. So there's got to be something I overlooked in the commit from yesterday. There's got to be something I overlooked that we changed. I really don't see where it is. Because we took this out, that wasn't it. And we took this out, and that wasn't it. You know, I don't know if it does, Soup. I think there's like a way to do it, but I'm not sure if it's native to Lua. I'm not exactly sure. Make our own switch case like in Python with a dict. Yeah, because basically everything in Lua is just a dictionary, so everything's a table and you can assign the key value pairs. Wow, we did almost nothing on that commit. Okay, I don't know where we messed it up. I'm tempted to commit and reset and just see if something indeed broke it, or if I'm just imagining it. Let's see, all we've done so far is turn back on our meditate idle. Oh, what the heck? When did we do this? This is the line here. Player update. Let's comment that out for player death. That's got to be it. That wasn't even in our commit. I might have been messing around with the file. Shoot, man. That sucks. Well, at least we found it. I think that's it. Player X, where was it? That's like, you know, you guys know that t-shirt, the I've seen this t-shirt where it's like coding is a game where you're the detective, the murderer, and the victim. Like that is so true. I feel so guilty. I'm like, oh, I was the murderer, I was the victim, and I was the Sherlock Holmes that figured it out. Yes, one indexed. It is very weird. It is the strangest thing. Okay, let's see. We should have knockback. There we go. We did have knockback there. Okay, so at some point in time, I added this and didn't commit it. I don't know if we were having the SSH key issues yesterday and I didn't push or what, but we need to keep the other DX changes where we flush it upon a chasm state and upon a death timer equals 2, because if we die with a DX and we change to the chasm state, we carry over the DX into the next load, and then it'll also carry over the flash, the damage flash, and the knockback. So that was very wrong when that happened. So that's why we had to add this to fix it. So now that we found that, let's just test it with... Where's the other one? The dead timer. Right here. We also want to flush our DX and DY if we die. If we game over, essentially. Yeah. And then we'll test it, but it's tough too. VBA. What is VBA? I don't even know. Oh, shh. Okay. That looks right. We don't get a damage flash. Like, it's tough to test whether or not we'll get a damage flash upon a respawn, because it means we have to trigger a death while we're falling, or oh shh. See, that was weird. We took 2 hits of damage there, which shouldn't be possible. Visual Basic. Oh, okay. Yeah, we might need to... I can't tell if a spitball killed us there or what killed us there. Because every once in a while we'll get a two death hits like back to back like that, and that shouldn't be possible. We should have a grace period of you can't get hit before you respawn, and that's why I had this graveyard function, and this is what I did in Joust when I made Joust. It's like, if we die, instead of deinstantiating our player, well, we'll have to look at how I do it in this one. We'll have to look. Okay, so we're going to spawn in the dungeon and we're going to see. There is what I call a graveyard. So if the player has fallen, which fallen means we get dragged into a chasm, we've collided with it for long enough to trigger the falling animation, the falling animation has played out all the way through, then we're going to no longer become falling, become a chasm death, so we know to trigger our chasm falling state if our health is 0. But this graveyard, I don't know why we had to do this graveyard. Okay, it's partly to not save our checkpoint positions. Graveyard is basically what I call the player's state in between dying and respawning, because he doesn't respawn the instant you die, so that's what graveyard is supposed to be. But let's test if we can get any weird loads, like by getting hit into a chasm by a spitball. Oh shit! It's okay. Well, it's good it hasn't broken yet, but it's tough because we can't recreate the bug we know was there at one point, so it's just tough to test. Shit. See, like that. See, it hit us and killed us, and it triggered a chasm state right away. It should have done one of two things. It should have just triggered the death animation so that we tumble and land on our ass, or it should have knocked us into the chasm, at which point we play the falling animation and then we switch to the chasm falling state. So there's at least two bugs, and one of them is this, where we prematurely trigger the falling chasm state, and then also we can get damaged more than one time in the span of the same instance, which shouldn't be possible. So why would this one get triggered? We'll see. At least it didn't carry over any bad DX or DY, so that's good. We know we weren't damage flashing like yesterday upon a respawn, so that's good. But basically, you know, it might have been here. Well, let's see whenever we change to a chasm falling state and see which instance must have triggered that. So we normally only trigger it. Wow, yeah. So we only trigger it in a couple instances, or one instance really. We define it here. This is commented out. So these are the only two instances where we change to it. So let's check this first one in the map. And this one only changes to a chasm fall state if our falling animation has played more than once. So maybe we also wrap this in we have to be falling at this point, because if we're not actively falling, you know, I thought that asking this times played greater than 1, and I tried this yesterday, right? Like, I thought that if we fall... Yo, see ya, Mochu. Thanks for hanging. Yeah, have a good night. I was thinking that if we fall in the chasm, our animation will cycle through and play, and that maybe we didn't reset it back to 0, therefore next time we got hit, it thought, because that times played was greater than or equal to 1 and that we were dead, that we would change to a chasm falling state. But we didn't have to trigger that by falling first in order for that to happen. So I kind of want to just try wrapping this in if we're falling. Then let's check our animation, and I shouldn't have to do that, but I don't know why it was triggering in the first place. That's the only time we change to a chasm falling state. I mean, we have one other one, and that is right here upon a chasm death. And so chasm death is only triggered in the very same kind of situation where it's like chasm death. Yeah, we're doing it anyway here. We're triggering it in chasm death, which should only be triggered if our falling animation is played all the way through, because we shouldn't change to a chasm falling state without having fallen all the way down into a chasm. That's why we kind of went that route with it. But let's see. I want to just save in the dungeon so we can respawn in there. See, it did it again. Yeah, it should only trigger this if we're falling. So it's like we're only falling if we collide with the chasm for a certain amount of time. Oh no. It's doing it again. It's doing it again. Well, are we falling? If we're not falling at that point, then something is beyond jacked up. Like, let's see if we're falling at this point. Because if we can get it happening like that again, then we can kind of prove whether or not it's because we're falling. See, so that worked correct. So let's try it again. Well, shit, man. It's not every time, which is like really annoying. Okay, yeah, we're triggering it even though we're not falling. I am beyond confused because we only do this twice. We only initialize this state twice. We only do it upon a chasm death. And we do it upon a death. Yeah, I mean, maybe this is redundant because we've got it. If we're falling, and our falling is played more than once, we're going to change it here. Let's see if we take out this other one. Because the other one's upon a chasm death, but this is upon the trigger for a chasm death, so we should be able to get rid of the second time we do it. Chasm death, yeah, let's just say... we take that out. No, it's more so like we have a table of a bunch of different animations, so it's only unless we run the change animation method on our player that the animation will update. So like we're only updating the current animation, and the current animation is explicitly changed to using the change animation method. So, and the fact that I can't get it like consistent either is tough. Well, this is looking right. I haven't seen it mess up in a couple turns yet. Cool, so that worked. Oh, here's the truth. Oh my god, holy shit. What was that? What was that? That was horrifying. Yo, hey, thanks for hanging, Soup. Yeah, I know. Yeah, sorry to wake you up right before bedtime. Yeah, have a good night, homie. Thanks for tuning in. Cool. See, I mean, that shouldn't play the death sound twice, but we played the death animation, then we fell, we played all of the fall animation, then we triggered the chasm fall state, which was really cool. Oh, are you talking about channel points? Well, so... Oh. Here's... We gotta fix that. Yeah, man, you'll do it. You'll do it. What are you at? Okay, hey, that's not bad. That's 60%-ish. 66%-ish, yeah. That's not bad. They'll be there before you know it. Okay, so what I did to quote-unquote fix it was we had some redundant change to chasm falling state state machine right here. I don't see it. I think we deleted it. It was upon a chasm death. So chasm death is a boolean triggered by the falling animation playing all the way through, because that means we are officially dead in the chasm, and we were saying let's not change to chasm falling state here, but instead, I mean, yeah, this is a little wonky because that shouldn't have fixed it, and I'm not convinced it's fixed. Like, I feel like we could still trigger it on accident, but we oh, gotcha, yeah. Is that like a 2x channel point multiplier? I don't even know. Okay, I don't know why that happens. Is that the death sound? Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm not so familiar with that. But that's cool. I don't know. And I think if you hang around for the raids, you get extra points too, or something like that too. I think you get like an extra 200 or something if you stay in through a raid. It's gotta have been this, right? Where was it a death sound that was looping or a hurt sound that was looping? That one I'm not too worried about because we're kind of like manually reloading when we shouldn't be, and the reloading isn't resetting our all of our players' values, just only a handful of them. So we might need to also load in a specific you know, dead gets false or something like that in the load. Because we load with the right hearts, it's just that when we die after a load, we have horrible sounds. Let's see if it's the player death sound here. I don't know if it is. So if we load and then die... Yeah, I think it was the death sound. So I think we just have to become undead when we load. Let's try it again. Let's load and then die and see if the sound is back. No, it isn't. I'm so confused. Okay, so I think instead of doing this chasm death reset, I think we just need to do this where we trigger the chasm death true. So what are all these values? We have a dead timer, a damage flash, a graveyard. See, this is weird. We say chasm death is true. Then we say, okay, we're in the graveyard, but then we're flushing the graveyard if we've died in the chasm. So that's like not right. Where do we use the graveyard is what I want to see. We use it for the checkpoint. And we use it for the transition event triggers, which makes sense. And we only render if we're not in the graveyard. Okay. So I think what I want to do is we need to reset. You know, if we become graveyard here, we don't become graveyard false here. We need to become graveyard false upon our game over and upon our chasm false state. So I think what I want to do is take all this chasm death stuff out. And when we go to a chasm false state, we need to flush our graveyard to false if we're in a chasm false state. So when we go to change to chasm false state, what is it called? Falling chasm state? Come on, man, what did I call it? Yeah, if we go to change to a chasm falling state, we also need to flush our graveyard. Okay, let's try this. Okay, that's seemingly right. We don't trigger the multi-death sound upon loading and then dying anymore, which is good. Let's try to trigger a chasm fall state without actually falling in a chasm. But I haven't seen that since we took out that... since we took out that double instance of it. So we might be good there. And I do want to modify our falling chasm particle system just a bit. I want to have... Where do we define the colors for the particle system here? Okay, right here. I think I just want to make them a bit brighter to start out with. And the idea is, yeah, see, they're starting out at a 10 out of 255 on the alpha channel. So we'll just brighten them up a bit, because I noticed on the VODs you couldn't see the particles that good. So I'll just boost them a bit so that you can really see the circular chasm at the bottom there. Let's see, does that read? You know, Merksu, I haven't quite figured that out yet. There's this tool called Mob Debugger that allows you to set breakpoints in Lua code and step through it. It's just that it's its own program, and it kind of works. Like it basically only prints out like a specific table you're asking for. So you have to kind of have to dig through the UI and kind of like click the exact thing you want and then step through. So it's like a little weird, but it is a thing. I just don't use it all that much. I probably should use it more. And then there is a terminal debug that we can use to print to the terminal as the game's running, but it's not a breakpoint like you're saying, but Mob Debugger has the breakpoint stuff. Oh shit. Okay, we do. Let's get our where's our DX that we're rendering? Let's get that off. Let's add our continue or quit onto our non-chasm death, and then we might call it a night there. So when we're game over, we have just rendering the game over on screen, but what we really need to do is to have our two options, continue or quit. So I might just snag the same text from our chasm falling. Let's see. So we have an option selector, we have a game over. Let's snag this. And in our play state, if we're game over, let's render the game over stuff here, and we just need an option selector for either continue or quit. And then what is the option selector here? All it is we change the option selector when you click up or down, and that means we need to initialize an option selector to 1 in our init, and then we should be able to, this should be in the update function, not the render function. Wow, okay, our play state is getting disgusting. Okay, yeah, we'll do an option selector right here. Probably too vague. We should call it game over or continue selector or something. So let's see. We're gonna get hit. Uh-oh. We only want to do that if game over. So when we do the listen for the yeah, we only want to do this if game over is true. Okay, let's try it now. We should get a continue or quit option. I don't think the option will do anything, but we die, 2 seconds of dead timer, then we have a game over and a quit. We took out our red back screen there, so we'll have to add that back in. And then if we actually continue, nothing happens because our inventory comes up. So we need to make sure our inventory only comes up if we're not game over or not dead. And then also we need to get our red background back. So when we game over, we want to set a color that is red, and it's not red, or it's red but it's see-through, so it's maybe 255, or we can do one on the red channel, 0 green, 0 blue, and then 100 out of 255. That might be too pink, but we want to set the color. Then we want to love.graphics.rectangle. Fill mode, we'll draw it at 0, 0 with the width and height of our screen dimensions. And then we do set our color for the game over. Okay, so we just need to scoot these two up. We need to scoot our... We have our Y at 36. Let's scoot it up by like 20 and 20. So we'll say 36 and 56. Because with the HUD down there, it doesn't look great. Now let's see where we do our inventory trigger. We have pause state. Yeah, we should have called our pause state the inventory state, but we did not do that. Well, where do we change to pause state then? Okay. We changed a pause state here for a touch press, but we're looking for this. Okay, so if not paused and we press enter, we're changing to pause state, but we have to also check if our player is not dead. So that we don't accidentally do that. And then we also need to trigger, you know, if we press enter or return, then also we need to say else if our player is dead, or if game over, then if we hit enter, we need to ask our option selector to change our state either back to title state or reload our game. So if our option selector is 1, which is continue, then we want to go into our global state machine. No, I think it's let's see how we do it in the falling chasm state. And its option selector should be in the update. We change to title state if it's option 2, and we load our player data and change back to a play state and set our player to be meditating if it is an option 1. Okay, so if we hit enter and we're game over, then depending on our option selector, we'll either continue or change to the title screen. So let's see if that's working. Dead for 2 seconds, game over. we have an option selector for continue or quit on a game over screen, and if we quit, we go to our title screen, which looks right. We did not reset our game. So we need to make sure we load our save data. We did become meditating, but now we're just meditating with spit on our heads. Let's see what happens if we continue. Nothing. So that's not right. Let's try if we continue first. Let's see what happens. Okay, we're going to continue. And we just meditate. Oh, and load. Oh, you know what? That actually is probably right. That's probably... Oh, gosh. This is actually maybe right. Because look at the spitballs following us. Wow. Okay, this is maybe right because we did save in the dungeon on accident. So let's try that again and just save outside the dungeon and it should load us. So we'll save out here, and then we'll die, and I think it might actually work. I forgot that was our... It did think it was still game over, though, so we need to flush our game over to false. Yeah. So it did load our save, but it still thinks it's game over. So let's also flush game over to false at this point. If we hit enter, I also want to do it if we do it, if we hit P, because like either enter or P is the A button on the Game Boy, so P should also be the selector for continue and quit. But let's see. We should be saved. Oh my god, we should be saved outside still. So we have a game over, continue, quit, and then if we continue, it loads. We're still game over for some reason. We need to reset. Well, we reset game over here. Where? That was in a play state. Enter was pressed. It was a game over and enter was pressed. Therefore, game over equals false. We're only rendering the game over if it's game over. So why? Okay, if we quit, we go to the title screen, and we resume, game over. What the heck? Why? If enter's pressed, if we're not paused, and not player dead, and enter was pressed, we're going to change to the pause state. That should be called inventory state. But then enter's pressed and it's game over. So let me, I don't know. Let's try to put, we want to also account for the P button press here. I don't know why this would, you know, I'm just going to see if this fixes it. I don't know why it would, but you know, we have a dedicated, if any of these are pressed, P, then we're gonna ask, you know, if we're game over and we just pressed any of the buttons, game over is now false, and then we either change to our title state or to our play state after we load our data. Maybe we just need to, well, see, and we do this first. We flush our game over false first, so it really shouldn't be game over still. Why? We're setting it right here. Let's maybe try, maybe because it's a global variable, it's just acting wonky. So let's try to change it. It looks like the only place we have it is in the play state, so we should be able to add it as a field. We can do a fancy search and replace here for game over, and we'll replace it with the self.gameover. And then we'll just initialize it false. And we'll test. Did I even save it? That was too fast. What is going on, man? What is going on? It's still game over. Game over gets false if we do this. It's a game. Yeah, we hit enter. We know we're game over because we're seeing the game over. Game over gets false. So our game over must be getting reset to true for some reason. Did we not flush our dead timer? Dead timer. Did we not flush our dead timer? So let's say if our dead timer is greater than 2, when do we increment our dead timer if we're dead? Okay, so if our dead timer is greater than 2, we can't reset it here because we're technically still dead. So, yes, Squinge. If I'm able to walk, I can walk around. If I just die, I lose it. I can't move if I just die. But if I respawn and it's game over, I can walk around. So that's an issue, but I think it's because of this dead timer. I think we need to just say that it's a player dead timer. We'll just need to reset it here. And also become undead. Let's see. That if that's not it, I've got nothing. So we'll see. That should be it though. Okay, this is it. This is it. This'll work. Okay, nice. It worked. We have to come up with a better... Oh my... What was that? What was... What was that? What the hell? Oh, that's bad. We need to come up with a better method of resetting all these specific values upon a reload. Yeah, the spitballs were still there. It's like... I think that was lit... Well, and what's weird is the spitballs don't actually do damage. The spitballs... If the spitballs timer... Yeah, if the spitballs have existed for 1/10 of a second, then it does a damage to us. But then we flag the remove to be true, and then we remove the spitballs from our attack table. So the fact that they still exist is very weird. The spitballs just came right to our head. Okay, so we just need to clear the attack table too at this point, but scene view dot attacks. We just need to clear the table. We need to come up with a better method of just kind of guessing which things to reset upon a death and hoping it doesn't break stuff. Like I need like a real list of things that we need to reset upon a game over to prevent any bugs. But son of a bitch, we're still getting hit. We still get hit here. Is it not attack table? Scene view. It is the current. Oh, it's the map at our global row. Oh my god. Okay, let's look for any map. Scene view current map. This is what it is. We have to reset the attacks table from here. Let's try that. Yeah, it's just a weird order of operations thing, Squinch, I think, because the spitballs are flagged to be removed, but they aren't removed when we interrupt its process by becoming a game over, I guess. Okay, so we're game over, we continue, we're meditating at our last save, we can wake up, we can walk in, and we don't get murdered by spitballs anymore, because we cleared the attack table. Okay. It's looking fairly right. We still have our double death sound effect like that, which we want to prevent. So I think we should only play the death sound if we're not already at health equals 0. So we can maybe find any time we play the death sound and just make sure we only play it if we're not already dead. Really? It is called a death sound, right? Yeah, sounds death. We play it here. See, we do this if our... Oh, see, we do this if we're less than 0 hearts. So we're technically playing our death sound if our self... Well, let's see. Do we play this anywhere else? Death play. We play this upon the player death. We don't play it anywhere else. Okay. So we play the death sound if we have... What the heck is this? Who programmed this? If our health Okay, so this is weird. It is already programmed to only play once because we play if we're if we have 0 health and we're not dead, then we become dead. Dead gets true. Then we play our death sound. So in order for this death to play twice, we'd have to become undead at some point again and still have 0 hearts, which isn't happening. I mean, it must be happening. We're hearing the death sound twice every once in a while. Maybe we just say this if self health is equal to 0, we're gonna play. Not if it's smaller than 0, because I think if we get hit again, then we play the death sound. But if we get hit again, we should have less health. We shouldn't be able to have less than 0 health, but I don't know. And it's gonna be hard to test because we'd have to die and get killed at the same time, which is a tough thing to do. Okay, well, at least... Oh my god. Why are we game over? Why are we game over? We need to reset our dead timer. Reset our dead. Upon a reset. When we reset our... Yeah, we need to reset our dead timer here, I think. Actually, where is it? We do reset our timer. So why are we game over when we respawn just like that? Why? Because we only change to a game over if our dead timer is greater than 2 seconds. And we only increment our dead timer if we're dead. And we're flushing our dead. We do reset our health too upon the load. Okay, I'm gonna print up dead timer and see if we can see it still. It should be just 0, not incrementing. We'll print up dead timer as well as the dead bool and see. What are you mad at? What did we do? Okay, let's print up our dead timer and our dead boolean, and we'll see. Oopsie. Okay. So when we load the game, both of these should be 0. This should be 0 and false again. See, so look, dead timer. Why do we not print it in gameOver? Okay, so look, dead timer 0, and we're not dead. That's correct. So why is it when we walk in here? Oh, don't tell me you're not gonna break now. Give me a break, dude. What? Like you're correct now, and I'm supposed to believe that? See, look at this. Okay, we need to do the same thing we're doing, but for a chasm state too. This is what I'm talking about. Like we need to have like a global function that can just do this, that says like reset player position for death or something, and just kind of reset all these values if we're in a, if we need to do that. So we'll do this when we go to change into a chasm state, a chasm falling state change. When we go to do that right here, we're going to make sure we reset all this stuff. And the gameOver is part of the play state. So I don't know how to actually change that. See, look, dead timer. Why did it say we were dead? Yeah, it said we were dead. So we loaded as dead for some reason. See, like this is so messy. Like it's so bad. We need to kind of like figure out exactly what needs to be reset so that we can do it both upon a normal death and upon a chasm death. We'll see if our dead timer is still getting incremented upon a reload. It's not getting incremented, but it is not 0, which is okay because we reset it when we die. Okay, I mean we didn't increment it, but we should probably also flush it. But it's so weird that we can't just do it here. When we trigger the chasm fall state, when we go to trigger that, we can't just say we're not dead and we reset our timer here. Maybe we have to do this before we change to our chasm falling state. I don't know how the state machine works at that level. Like it might just break the body of code it's in and just go straight on to the state machine. So maybe that's it. And then we at least don't have to have all this stuff. I don't know. Let's test it. Because yeah, we shouldn't have to do that 60 times a second, reassign our dead timer, and become undead. Shit. Still does it. Doesn't matter that we flush it here. Doesn't matter that when we have no health, We were falling. We go to trigger a chasm fall state. We flushed our dead timer in our graveyard. We did this stuff twice even. Flush that. And it didn't work. Did we really become dead after respawning this again? Yeah, we're dead. Why are we dead upon a reload? That's for... Let's make sure... Let's go to our save data utility and just make sure we're not doing any weird stuff here. We do save our health. We don't save our dead status because we should be. Maybe what we should do is when we load, we should just set. When we load, maybe we just manually set dead to be false. When we load. We should be able to just do it in the game's logic, but it's weird that it's wanting us to like explicitly do it in the falling chasm state, and yeah, see, at least we're not dead anymore. I don't know if I like this method of setting it here in the load utility for the player. It kind of makes sense because, yeah, it kind of does make sense to put it there because then anytime we load our player, we'll have all those values. Like I was saying, we need like a spot to kind of... Shit. Play state 641, we crash. We didn't have a dead timer. Oh. Set it to 0, not false. It does kind of make sense to do it in the load. The more I think about it. So, what are the other things we needed to do to flush it? We need the dead timer, graveyard. So, if we have dead and dead timer set already, we just need the graveyard. So we'll do that. And then it doesn't matter whether we die from a chasm or from a bat. Whenever we load our player, we get those default values. So that does make a little more sense to me. So that might be okay. That was jacked up, but I did try to make it jacked up. See, look at this. Our damage flash is just... Well, making a game is certainly not boring. Okay. We might be okay. It's just like so hard to test. See, that was good. We died like while we were damage flashing. It looks like it reset properly. Okay. Okay, that was a good test too, because we kind of died right when we fell into the chasm. Okay, it's looking pretty stable, and we haven't seen the chasm bug in a while where it accidentally triggers that. Oh no, dude, give me a break. What are you talking about? You can't read a sign anymore? What are you talking about? What? What is going on? We just walked through a mage. What the heck, dude? We don't even collide with the mage anymore. What is going on? We can read the sign now. We collided with the mage. Why, when we loaded, did we not have this ability? Let's try to die down here. Okay, and we can't read. Okay. All right. So when we load our game, we just forget how to talk and read signs. We can talk to this guy. We can talk to this guy once we walk into a... Oh god. Okay, well, it gets reset once we walk into... Oh gosh, and now our pits aren't colliding. Okay. Alright. Very bad. We'll have to figure out why that is happening. It's not going to be tonight. I know that much. Okay, so let's say that we have to... Why game break with collision and pits after player load? We'll just have to investigate that and see why that is happening. It does seem to get reset once we walk into a building and come back out, but we shouldn't have to do that. It might have to do with... You know what? I think it has to do with the current scene view. Well, no, it's weird because we're actually talking to the sign. Like, we can hear that there's a sign there for us to select from. So, like, we reload. If we click on this, the game is paused because the mage isn't walking and the water isn't moving. And we have the ability to meditate or no. And if we choose yes, we're there. So it does know that we're on the right scene. Although we don't have the ability to push crates here either. So there's one thing that's not getting set properly here when we load our player. But if we do a warp zone and come back, we have the stuff back. So it's probably not... Uh-oh. Yeah, we shouldn't have an option select on a dialog box that's not a type idle. So we'll have to fix that too. Okay. Well, we'll commit. We'll say we tried to what? I guess we should look at our git diff and just see what we actually did. We condensed our graveyard trigger logic into where we trigger a death, which makes sense. We tried to fix this death sound from only playing once. We added a bunch of player resets to our load function. We added a game over for non-chasm deaths. We changed how our dialog boxes were being rendered. We're not rendering them via the dialog ID index anymore. We're rendering them based on our dialog box collided table, which gets populated when you interact with a dialog box and you're colliding with it. And then we added the game over to non-chasm deaths, and that's about it. So we'll just commit with a message saying that we added game over options for non-chasm deaths, and maybe that's it. Oops. Push it. There we go. Okay. Let's see who we can raid out here. Let me run the credits. Yo, thanks for watching, everyone. I'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully we'll get some more bugs fixed, because today was kind of a rodeo. Let's see who is streaming. I don't know who this Lewis guy is, but he's got a big old beard, so we're gonna raid him. Yo, thanks for watching. I hope everyone has a great night.
Finding Focus Dev, muchas gracias por ese pedazo de raid y bienvenidos a los que ven en tus partes más íntimas. ¿Cómo estamos, gente? Muchas gracias y bienvenidos.